Jojo, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
We're excited to get you on here. I know we've been pushing you to do this for a while, so we had to trick you into doing it today.
Yeah, I found out maybe 20 minutes ago that I was going to be on.
Yeah, no. So actually, there's some exciting things going on in the business that Danny and I have talked about in previous episodes. One of the biggest is that we're bringing you on, at least on a part-time basis for right now, to help with different things in the business. We're getting busier and busier, and your background in real estate recently, and then also just in finance and banking and things, just kind of make you a competent asset, and you're able to help out a lot. So wanted to do just an introductory episode. Also, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, we have a new setup, so go check us out on YouTube and on Instagram. I'm sure we'll do a post about the new setup here, so it's much more comfortable. We got a couch and a chair. We're all just sitting here, much more laid back. So
permanent now too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is a permanent studio setup, so we don't have to bring everything in and set it up and then tear it down after every episode. So it'll save us a lot as well.
That's
mainly
right.
Danny.
We're excited.
Yeah, we're really excited. So for those who don't know you, we've talked about you on the episode before. Danny has. We've given a little bit of your background, but let's hear from you. Give a brief overview of your story and kind of background in working at Scott and different things like that. Give us your background, Jojo.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, like everybody else, I kind of started off just minimum wage jobs. I had the opportunity to work with my brother at CareStar Industries, which is kind of it's like toilet paper rolls, like cardboard rolls, but for like in much bigger quantities for construction and different things like that. Yeah, industrial. Yeah. So I worked as just one of the office ladies, customer service representative, helped out with paperwork and different things like that, and that really helped open the door to different possibilities. So that was a great opportunity. After that, we had gotten married and I moved to Alton, Illinois, and I really liked the idea of going into banking. So I started off as a teller and I really liked the position. It seemed easy. I was, just keeping an eye out for what the other ladies in the office were doing. Some of the financial service representatives, they did loans. That was super exciting to me. So I think 3 months into the job, I applied for that position. They didn't even interview me. They just gave me the job. So it was super exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. It was a good experience, and it opened the door to Navy Federal and working as a mortgage loan processor. So
yeah, so let's unpack that just a little bit. So you told them you wanted a different position, and they didn't even interview. They
told
just
Navy Fed this. Yeah.
No,
okay.
I told Scott.
No, this was at Scott.
Yeah, Scott Credit Union. Yeah, I just asked. I applied for the position, and I sent a quick email over to my. It was they call them a market manager, so they are my manager's manager, and I just told them how I thought I could be an asset to our team by taking that part-time financial service representative that I was a teller, and I just felt like I would be a good fit. So he gave me a call. He asked me if I was available. He said, "Hey, we're going to give you the job." I was like, okay.
I love that. And that's what I wanted to talk about, is just the bottom line is, if you are a good employee, and I want to say this carefully because it could sound really not judgmental or aggressive, but it could sound like I'm really passing a harsh judgment. But if you're a good employee, you will be able to move up within your industry or within your current company,
as well as creating value for positions that become open. So like you did, because it's not necessarily even about just showing up on time and staying late or whatever. It's also about seeing where the need is and fulfilling it
and building on it. Yeah.
Because if you hadn't stepped up, they probably wouldn't have even considered it. It would have just been like, oh, she fills the teller role really well. She does a great job as a teller. But instead, you were like, actually, I see a need there, and I can fill that for you. And they're like, you know what? All right.
And you remember, like, when I first started as a teller, I was so nervous because, it's totally different. I'm out of my comfort zone. A lot of people just think it's just a teller position, but I was definitely nervous because you're dealing with large quantities of money and different things. But my first week on the job, I got super comfortable, even a couple fake bills too. I was super happy about it.
You're like the bank's drug sniffing dog.
Yeah. She was really good at it from her previous, jobs working at Panera and Subway.
Yeah, there was
and
a lot of
places like
fake
that.
currency
Really?
in Toledo. Yeah, we
Really?
had my manager at Panera directly worked with somebody from the FBI because there was like fake
So many
20s coming.
counterfeits.
Yeah, just coming through all the time.
Interesting.
And I remember one time in the kitchen, they were like, "Oh, that person right there in the hat, that she's the one giving fake bills out." They were like, "Go, go!" They were like trying to get her on
Yikes.
camera.
Oh man.
And it was just, it was
That's,
crazy.
Something
messed
else
up.
that's cool that actually kind of it clicked with me too is you didn't want to continue to just work at Subway or be good at those jobs either. That's one reason that you got the job with your brother was because you were like, hey, I'm looking to kind of advance my career.
Yeah.
And so you started working in the billing department, which is how you got the job at Scott Credit Union. That's how you set yourself apart, as well as those counterfeit.
Yeah, I mentioned that in my interview. With,
Really?
that you
with-
were able to spot counterfeits really, really.
Yeah, that we dealt
well.
with it a lot at Panera, and just that, I felt like that was a reason that I would be good in the teller position. So, and then, obviously when I moved on to the financial service representative, I did the exact same thing, just being like, hey, this is how I'd benefit this
I
role.
have experience
Yeah.
that would be helpful. Yeah,
Mhm.
I
And
think
same thing with Navy Fed too. I find that interesting.
Yeah,
That's how you got that role, was being like, hey, actually I have credit union experience, and I think even though I don't have mortgage experience, I could still
Yeah.
provide you value.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. It kind of reminds me of talking to, with Andrew Ray. We had him on the podcast a long time ago, and he would do that same kind of thing, just basically looking for ways that he can boost himself and get in front of people and provide that value. Like, hey, basically just finding jobs that are off market,
Yeah.
jobs that nobody would think of, or that it's not on Indeed.com. You're not out there putting out your resume. And of course that has a place.
Mm-hmm.
But just the ability to just put yourself out there and say, hey, I have experience with this, or, I have these other experiences that would help in this kind of job.
Yeah.
I want this position. It
Just
was
really selling yourself.
exactly. Yeah. That's exactly. I feel like it was the same kind of thing. When I worked at Men's Warehouse, I had a similar experience. I had been, customer service associate. I think CSAs, that's what it stands for. Basically just working with rentals for about 3 or 4 months, and a sales position came open, and I heard about it because one of my best friends was the one who was leaving, and he was vacating a sales position. And so I went straight to the manager and I was like, I want sales. I want to be in sales. And she was like, well, sure. And I feel like, I don't know, it's that kind of, I don't want to say
Go get it.
Yeah, it's shameless self-promotion, really. And
Yeah.
it is what it is. You just have to put yourself out there. You can't be scared to just say, hey, I want to do this. You know, it was kind of the same thing for you, Danny, when Danny just called me, and obviously all of us know this story, but you just called me and you were like, hey, we want to get into real estate. Would you mind if we worked with you, if I worked with you? And I was like, I wanted this, but I just didn't want to ask, So otherwise maybe we wouldn't be sitting here, So there's a lot of opportunities where I feel like if you just kind of brace yourself for a no, but put yourself out there, then that's where big things happen.
Very well said.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you articulated that really well, because a lot of people are nervous to actually value themselves, and instead they just try and become an expert of whatever position they're at, and that ends up just sticking them in this rut of okay, where do I go from here? I'm doing this really well and nobody notices. It's because you have to make someone notice you.
Exactly.
You have to put yourself out there.
And also you don't want to look conceited as well and say, well, I can do this, put me in, like, let me do this job. But I always say no one is going to look out for you but you.
Yeah.
And
it's
it's
not
a like an analogy for that, and I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're
Sorry
good.
about that.
I was just going to say that I don't mean to say like nobody's going to watch out for you, but nobody cares more about your career and your advancement than you do, or at least you should. So you have to do it for yourself.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
An analogy that immediately came to mind was whenever I was playing soccer in college, there was a kid that always went to coach, and he's like, hey, I'm ready to go in. He wasn't a starter, but he was on the bench, and coach like gave him more and more playing time as the season went on, and he got what he wanted. Nobody would have put him on the starting lineup, but he earned that spot eventually because he just pushed so hard, because he's like, hey, I've been practicing so much, coach. I've been preparing myself for this time, this
Yep.
play time.
Yeah.
Please put me in. And coach is like, you know what? All right. There you
Well, and
go.
that's the thing too, is you just said he got what he wanted.
Yeah.
Oftentimes the person who wants it the worst or the most gets it.
Yeah, and
it's that way
that's
with
the
playing
kind-
time, and it's that way with positions and jobs.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like when I applied for the teller position, I didn't think that I was going to get it. When I applied for the FSR position, I was like, what's the worst that they could say?
Yeah.
No.
That's
Same
the thing.
with Navy Federal.
Yep, I've said that many times. Is the bottom line is if someone says no, you're left not worse off than you're left in the exact same position you are now. So if
Yeah.
I apply for a job and they say no, I'm literally still in the exact same position.
Yeah.
You're not worse off at all.
And you never have to wonder, like, what
Exactly.
if I had done
You put
this?
yourself out there.
Yeah.
That's exactly
And
right.
maybe your pride's hurt a little bit. And I think that's where
Yeah.
a lot of people get hung up is they don't want to
Yeah.
embarrass
It
themselves.
doesn't feel good to be
exactly.
told no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the more you learn that it's effective to put your pride away and just make moves, whether that be, whether that be against your pride or not, you got to put yourself out there. You got to make yourself uncomfortable at some point to make progress.
Yep.
And it's
Yeah.
funny because you're actually one of the people that taught me that initially was, just do it. Just make sure that you're doing everything you can, whether it's uncomfortable or not, to progress, whether that's in soccer or, like when we were practicing, you were always the one to be like, hey, just push yourself a little bit harder and
Yeah.
you can hit that, 7.5 minute mile
Yeah.
or whatever it was at the time.
Yeah, that actually, speaking of Mikey, it really helped when, us working out, and we've been doing 25 minutes on the stair stepper and
Which
really trying
is
to
brutal.
Yeah. It is,
25
it
minutes
is.
is brutal.
and we're trying to do higher levels. We're trying to push ourselves, and Mikey had mentioned to Danny that every time he feels like he should go down a level, he actually goes up a level.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna try that, and it's great. It makes you feel good because when you go up a level and you do it for 5-10 minutes, and then you go down that level you were considering going down from originally.
You're resting at the level that you were at before.
Yeah.
So you're not dropping down, you're going up, and then when you get tired, dropping down a level feels good, but
Yeah.
you still haven't dropped lower than when you first started off. Yeah.
Exactly.
You're making
Yeah.
me look cool right now. Making it look like I work a lot harder than I do in the gym. Every time I leave Planet Fitness, I'm just like soaked, and I feel like people just look at me like, "Oh, there's that guy again coming in."
Hey,
So
it's okay.
Yeah, plug to Pensacola Athletic Center for that because we're moving from Planet Fitness to
Yes.
there finally.
Yeah,
we're
I'm
very
excited
excited
about
about
that.
switching
Yeah.
to PAC. Yeah,
So
we finally-
anybody locally, go to PAC.
That's the
talk to
thing,
Max
and
Gutierrez.
we'll probably do an update episode in a few when we've accomplished all of our goals.
Yeah.
We'll talk about PAC, but no, it was cool. Just a little blip. We went and Max Gutierrez, who was on the podcast, really early on. Actually, he showed us through the gym and everything, and it's such a cool atmosphere, and it's one
Yeah.
of those atmospheres that make you want to work, kind of like in tandem of what we were just talking about, being pushed and things like that. There's atmospheres that make you feel like you can go more or you should go more, and there's
But you're
atmospheres
comfortable to not.
exactly
Mhm.
yeah
Mhm.
and it's the same thing as far as like hanging out with groups that make you feel like you should level up. It's the same thing as far as the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
no
excited.
different at all.
I'm excited to
as
go
well.
into that atmosphere because sometimes at Planet Fitness, I feel like, you just kind of scan the room and you see people,
You're like, I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
you
I
get
mean, like
comfortable.
you just see people that are exactly comfortable, and I like being in a gym atmosphere where it's like, if you're not doing something, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Judgment is good sometimes. That
Mhm.
social aspect is good to be encouraged to work harder.
Yep. Yeah, we talked about that on the podcast before. Shame is not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you should be shamed into just being better, into doing more, So,
Yeah.
all right. So we talked about transferring from Caristar into Scott. And then, so when you guys moved down here, tell us a little bit about your experience trying to find a job at Navy Fed. How did that go?
So, probably like 2 weeks before we moved down here, I started applying to different positions, and Evan had interned at Navy Federal, so he had mentioned the job to Danny, and I'm looking through all of their jobs, and it was intimidating because I was like, I feel like I'm not even qualified for, I've never had experience in mortgages, and the job description didn't really clarify that there was no need for previous experience, but I just went ahead and I applied anyways because I was interested in the position.
And what's the worst they can say?
Yeah,
Yep,
exactly.
exactly.
So probably like 3 or 4 days before we were about to move, I had already ended my, I had my last day at Scott Credit Union. They had, a recruiter had called me and they were like, hey, do you want an interview? I'm like, yeah, sure. And so a day before we packed up, before you came to help us pack up the move, I had an interview that morning, and I felt like it went really well, but I was also like, and then,
not quite sure.
Yeah. And then once we got down here, a couple weeks, they were like, hey, you got the position. This is what's going on.
Oh yeah.
We'll keep in touch. And, from then on, and
pretty seamless.
Yeah.
God definitely provided for that one.
Yeah, man, that's exciting. And I feel like you saw a position that you're like, well, I'm not quite sure if I'm, qualified for this. Maybe I shouldn't or whatever. But you just put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. I guess that would probably be the more central theme of the episode, is just about putting yourself out there. Yeah. There's no harm in that at all. And you mentioned earlier, your pride may be hurt. Nobody likes to be told no. Nobody likes to be turned down for something. But the bottom line is, what is your pride worth? It's not going to actually hurt you.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good, but being uncomfortable, we all know that that's where the growth happens.
Yeah. And I'm super excited to start working with you. That's why when I first mentioned kind of like helping you guys out with different things, I was like, I could just intern, just kind of like slowly get into learning your processes and different things. But it really excites me because I feel like it's just the next step.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, in that mortgage processing experience, for you to have pushed yourself so far in that, we definitely saw you as an asset, not just a family member we wanted on our team. It's like you have experience now coordinating transactions. And now, I mean, you're in a position where you're just as valuable as anyone else that we would be looking to add to the team. It's not just because you're family. It's because you have excelled at your position, and now you're going to excel with us. And we're just excited about that aspect.
I guess that's the thing. There's two things that made it just seem like a slam dunk in my mind. Number one is that we all get along very, very well. Since our office is in your guys' spare bedroom, that's where we have our desks and everything set up. I'm at your guys' house all the time, and so we're able to talk, and we just have the same worldview on things, and we have the same growth mindset, the mindset of, let's sacrifice now so we can have better things later on. And the second thing is, you spent the last 6 months being trained how to handle transactions, and I've been watching that entire growth process, that arc of you learning, how to juggle 15, 20 different transactions. And so that makes you incredibly valuable. And I know that was stretching you that entire time, but in the end, that's what we need. We're moving into places in the business where we're getting more business than we can handle, and we're ramping up and trying to prepare the structure for even more business. And so we need someone who can handle the transactions, and it's just that quality control, like Mark has talked about in the past on the podcast. Someone is making sure, we have to have the systems and processes in place, and then we have to have people who can execute the same exact process every single time.
Yeah.
And that's what your role is going to be. You'll be handling your transactions.
And that's what my role at Navy Federal
exactly.
was.
You're going to be doing the exact same thing pretty much.
Yeah, it's just every case is different, but it the base is the same.
Yeah, exactly. Your responsibilities will be largely the same.
So here's the start of that official role, of that official hiring process.
Yep. So ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
We've been kind of not hush-hush about it, but we haven't really...
we didn't want to announce it.
We haven't told too many people about it, just because it's been kind of in the works and things like that. But we're now really stepping full in that direction, and so we're excited. And thank you for being down to come on the podcast. I know we kind of jumped it on you, surprised you with it, but I'm excited, and I feel like your experience has a lot of value that you can bring. Just as far as working those bank jobs and 9-to-5s and things like that. And now you're making the leap into something a little less certain. We all have the same vision, and we're all going to be working in the exact same business. And people will be able to see hopefully the benefits of that down the road. So
Lord willing.
I'm excited.
Yep.
So on that note, thank you everyone that made it this far in the episode. Thank you for listening. I hope that you found some value in this episode, and if you're interested in listening to any other stories from previous guests, look back at our previous 30 episodes. There's plenty to choose 31. From, a wide variety of people, and the professional industries of Pensacola.
Yep.
So,
and also a big thank you to EMJ Visuals. I don't know if you guys could hear in the background, but she's been snapping pictures this entire time. We wanted to get some good content for the Instagram page, so we did a podcast photo shoot while we were recording this. So EMJ Visuals on Instagram, go check her out. That's Ethan Himka's girlfriend, Erica. So
she's awesome.
She's awesome. She did a tremendous job for us today. So again, we appreciate everybody listening, and we'll catch you for episode 32.